But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that it was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
We feel like we are owed a piece of that pie that we helped to create. So that's basically what that is.
Kiki Iriafen, unable to hit the three.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you made it through that quick intro, I want to thank you. You're the 1% of the 1%. The WNBA had their All-Star game this weekend where they balled to a moderate to low moderate level. It wasn't the biggest highlights that we've seen. Some of them were comedic.
Kiki Iriafen, unable to hit the three in the WNBA All-Star game. And right away, Asia Wilson launching. Picking her way up the floor, Nafisa Collier. Plum shovels into Thomas. Thomas misses the legs. Thomas misses the legs.
The biggest headline coming out of the WNBA All-Star weekend was that the players were wearing t-shirts that read, "Pay us what you owe us." Which is absolutely hilarious because the WNBA operates at a total loss. It is negative $50 million in the red. Technically, the players of the WNBA owe the owners a guap of money. They are broke. I don't know how they are operating. Well, I do know it's because they are subsidized by the NBA. The NBA subsidizes this league. This is a charity case.
But what about the longevity of it? The players that are coming after us, next year's players. So I think it's really important right now. Obviously, women's basketball is skyrocketing, and it's important for us to get what we want now.
Currently, the only time that the WNBA is skyrocketing is when Caitlin Clark is in a game, whether that's attendance or viewership. And the WNBA absolutely hate her. They don't want to pay her dues, and they don't want to say she's the reason for this surgence in attendance and viewership and fans.
So the t-shirts don't bother me. But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. Keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
It appears that the audience at the All-Star game was getting behind the messaging of "pay us what you owe us," but people on the internet and the general public are giving the WNBA a bit of a backlash, and they've begun trolling the WNBA and being called out by people on the internet.
So the WNBA had an All-Star game. I know. Who knew? Not me. I didn't have a clue. But they came out wearing shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Nothing? Like, you're a subsidized league. You cannot operate without men. So without men, there's some in the league, you can't operate. You can't operate. You don't even exist without men. What you're owed is nothing. Like, I need you to understand this. You don't, there's one player that's owed. There's one player, Caitlin Clark. The rest of you, you're not owed anything. You are actually a liability to the NBA. At some point, the NBA is going to go bankrupt trying to push this agenda of women's basketball. It's a sorry product. Skedaddle.
The WNBA just signed a $2.2 billion deal over 11 years, which starts in 2026, which actually coincides with a new CBA that they're going to negotiate after this season is over. Just for reference, leagues like the NFL and the NBA have a relatively half and half, 50-50 split, right? The NBA, I think, does like a 52-48 split. I believe the NFL does a 51 for the owners, 49 for the players. But the girls, I'm telling you right now, these girls are going to go into this negotiation and they're going to possibly strike because they're going to ask for over 50% of this brand new revenue that the WNBA owners have been waiting for 25 years. And while they're preparing to go on a strike, Girls like Angel Reese, who makes $73,000 a year from playing WNBA basketball, are going to get a pay increase with this new TV deal. They're going to get about 3 times to 4 times more than what they're getting paid right now. So Angel Reese, who's making $73,000 right now, could possibly be making anywhere from $219 to about $250,000 for playing 44 games, half of what the men play. But you want the same pay as the men in a league where y'all don't make any money and you're about to start making money. You guys got to be patient. They're going to pay you guys. You're going to get a pay increase, but you're going to try and go in there and break the bank. And it's going to lead to a strike. And if you girls strike, it would be the worst and dumbest thing you can do. Because a lot of people still don't watch y'all. Slow down.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and people think that the players are asking for NBA money, and that is simply not true. First of all, why is this happening now? Well, the CBA, or collective bargaining agreement between the league and the players, expires this year. So that means negotiations are opening. So what are the players actually asking for? What they want is not the same dollar amount as NBA players, but the same percentage of all revenue. NBA players receive 50% of all league revenue. Right now, WNBA players receive roughly about 9.3%. They want 50%, just like the men have. This is especially complicated in the case of someone like Caitlin Clark, because she drove herself roughly about 26% of the entire league's revenue last year, $50 million or so dollars. And in her case, her salary for the league is $76,000. Yes, she has other sponsorship deals that she makes millions from, but that puts, in an extreme case, some of those numbers into perspective. Why is the league against potentially doing this? Well, one of the reasons is because last year in 2024, even though revenue and viewership surged as much as 200% in some studies, they still operated at a loss the last calendar year, about $50 million. That's just a brief overview of this issue. It's very complex. There are a lot of layers. But in short, WNBA players want the same percentage of all revenue that NBA players receive.
Colin of Fox Sports had a terrible take on this situation.
NBA players make 50% of revenues. WNBA players make 9%. And now the merch sales are up 500% and attendance is up, 40%. So they're going to get a raise. There's no question. And I don't really care that the previous 25 years they didn't make a lot of money or lost money. I don't care. They're in the middle of a negotiation and they're on a heater. So it doesn't really matter. I've said this before. I made an investment for 5 years and it lost money, and I got about 6 months left in the investment, and in the last 6 months they started making cash, I'm not bailing on the investment. I want to finally get my money back. So they're going to get a raise. They're finally turning a corner. But and negotiating in any business is all about current momentum. It's not about 12 years ago. It's about current momentum.
Wow, what an absolutely bonehead analogy. The players aren't the investors, Colin. The investors are the owners of the WNBA and the silent partners that also invested money into the WNBA. Just now, they're heading towards a profit. Do you think those investors and silent partners and owners want to give up now more funds to the players? His analogy doesn't work. If you were an investor and now you were turning a profit after 5 years of losses, and then your employees demanded all raises because now you were profiting, you would say, no, we are just now making profit. You did not. I've been covering your salaries and I've been at a loss for the last almost 30 years. And now that there's some money, it's time for the owners or the people that have invested to collect profit. If it is that they are on after they do their profit loss analysis or whatever, and they figured out, well, we're in the hole 50 mil, and just now they're not even out of the hole yet. They're now seeing more profits that maybe someday they'll get out of the hole. But that more revenue your employees can't be like, hey, now we made a little bit extra money, give us half. Every employer would be like, you're fucking insane. This is crazy. This analogy doesn't work. He had it all the way right until he says the players deserve more. It's like, well, they're not the investors. Your analogy is based on the investors losing money. The players have nothing to lose. They didn't risk anything. This is a charity case through and through. But if you made it to this point, please like, subscribe, comment down below, hit that notification bell so you never miss a clip. That's the end. Comment down below. Let me know. Do the players deserve more money? Personally, I don't care if they get more money, but we can't say that they are profitable. They'd be getting more of a percentage of a dying league. Caitlin Clark might resurgent, but it took 28 years for a Caitlin Clark to come into the league and, make it profitable, more profitable. Who's to say that when will the next Caitlin Clark come up? After she's out of the league, what happens? Or when her mystique wears, let's say 2 or 3 years down the line, if it happens. These players are making projections like, oh, now the good times are just going to roll. It's just going to be up from here. But we don't know that. We have data sets that prove that it's been bad for 28 years, good for 2. So now, does that mean that it's forever growth? Most likely unlikely. This, growth is great, but it will most likely fade. Eventually, people will be disinterested with the Caitlin Clark experiment. But comment down below, let me know what you think. That's all the time we have for now. If you like the video, like it. If you disagree, comment down below. I'm down to argue. Till next time, later.